Somnul este un comportament uman foarte bizar. Când dormim, nu putem să ne hrănim, nu putem să procreăm, nu putem să avem grijă de cei dragi. Și mai ales când dormim, suntem vulnerabili noi înșine. Și cu toate astea, somnul este cel mai eficient mod de a ne reseta creierul și sănătatea în fiecare zi. Sunt Alexandra Găteș, fondator al Societății Omului Sănătos și vă invit astăzi la a treia conversație Habits despre somn, importanța lui și relația noastră cu el. Oana Igrișan, fondatorul Societății Omului Sănătos, stă de vorbă astăzi cu profesorul Michael Breus, care este inventatorul cronotipului uman. Un om care studiază cum dormim de peste 20 de ani. Află împreună cu noi astăzi dacă ești lup sau delfin, urs sau leu. Vizionare plăcută!
Michael, I am so happy that you accepted to join our Habits conversation dedicated to sleep. I am honored that you are here, and our whole community is very happy to have you here. I would like to say thank you for your amazing book, The Power of When, which was a life-saving book for me. It really helped me better understand my whole family. I managed, because of your book, not to have a heart attack. Each morning I was heading to school with my two daughters. They are wolves and I am a lion, so you can imagine the crazy mornings we have in the house. Here in Bucharest, it's 8 o'clock in the evening, and as a bear, I'm already a bit sleepy. I know that it's 10 o'clock in Manhattan, where you are, and you are a wolf, and I hope you get a chance to wake up well and to have your refreshment juices, because I know that you don't really have coffee. Michael, please tell us about your sleep. How do you sleep? Did you ever have problems with sleep?
So many people always wonder, like, why did I get involved with sleep as an area of research, and why did I become a sleep doctor? Many people think, oh, he must have had a sleep problem when he was a young man, or maybe somebody in his family. Believe it or not, I don't have a sleep problem at all. I really fell in love with clinical sleep medicine when I started treating patients, because I helped them so fast. You know, when you change somebody's sleep, you change their life. And I really liked the idea of being able to work with people and have such a big effect on their whole world. I mean, let's be honest, there's only three things that you have to do in life. You have to breathe air, drink water, and sleep. I know you have to eat, but you don't have to eat. There's a lot of choices there. So these are the three biggies that I'm always, hyping on with people. So I'm excited to be in the field. It's been growing. And people have a tremendous interest in sleep now. So that part has been a lot of fun for me as well.
What's your definition of sleep, and what are sleep cycles, and why are they important for us?
Sure. So when we think about sleep, there's really two different systems in the brain that help us understand how the sleep process works. One is called your sleep drive. The other is called your sleep rhythm. So let's talk about drive for just a second. So sleep drive is a lot like hunger. Right? So I'm hungry. I eat something and that hunger goes away. The same holds true with sleep. When a cell eats a piece of glucose, something comes out the back end. One of those things is called adenosine. It works its way through your system. And then when it gets to a very specific area of your brain, it accumulates and you get sleepier and sleepier and sleepier. That's drive. But there's a second system called sleep rhythm. That's actually your circadian rhythm. Also a little bit like hunger. You know how you get hungry around breakfast time, around lunchtime, and around dinner time? Most people get sleepy somewhere between 10 and probably 11:30 at night. And so when your sleep drive is high and your circadian rhythm is working, you sleep. But if either one of them is off, that's when you have a sleep disorder. Now, the second part of the systems are the sleep stages and the sleep cycles. So what is a sleep stage and what is a sleep cycle? When somebody enters into sleep, you go to stage 1 to stage 2, down into stage 3 and 4, back to stage 2, and into something called REM sleep. That stands for rapid eye movement sleep. And so that's a cycle of sleep. It takes approximately 90 minutes for that to occur, and you have 5 of those cycles across the night. So here's where it gets interesting. If it's 90-minute cycle, and you have 5 of them, that's only 7.5 hours a night. So number one, remember, 8 hours is a myth. Okay, not everybody needs 8 hours. Some people need a little less, some people need a little more. Don't get stuck in that 8 hours, okay? Now you might be wondering, well, what is stage 3 and 4 and what is REM? What do those stages do for me? Stages 3 and 4 is your physical restoration. It's your body rejuvenating. It's all of the things that you want physically to happen to you. REM sleep is your mental restoration. This is where we move information from our short-term memory to our long-term memory. We dream during this period of time, and we're paralyzed during this period of time, so we don't act out our dreams. Stages 1 and 2 are really not as important as those 2 other ones. They kind of set you up to get to stage 3, 4, and to get to REM.
Thank you. So you are the inventor of chronotype. Can you tell us what is actually a chronotype?
Yeah, so a chronotype is an interesting idea. People might not have heard of chronotype, but they might have heard of somebody being called an early bird or somebody being called a night owl before. Those are chronotypes. My contribution to the literature is I developed a 4th chronotype based on insomnia. And so, by the way, chronotypes are genetic. Many people don't know that, but you're born an early bird or you're born a night owl. What's interesting is you don't actually experience that until you become an adult. So when you're an itty bitty baby, you're an early bird, or what I call a lion, right? So babies go to bed really early and they wake up really early. If you have a 2nd grader, right, they're more like a bear, which is somebody that's in between the early bird and the night owl. Then when you get to have teenagers, which by the way is not an easy thing to do. I have 2 teenagers. It's terrible, right? You know what I'm talking about. It's terrible. They want to stay up late and sleep late. And so that's like being a night owl, or what I call a wolf. So we go through all of these stages. And then once we become an adult, our brain picks one. And then that's where we are until about age 60. And then we actually go backwards and we start to go earlier. So if you ever notice, if your parents or your grandparents eat dinner at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and they used to do it at 7, that's because their circadian rhythm has kind of rolled backwards. And so these 4 types, lion is an early bird, bear is in between, night owl is a wolf, and a dolphin is an insomniac. If you can figure out which one you are, it can teach you the path in when to sleep.
Usually we try to conform our bodies to society's rule, not honoring our chronotypes. But do you think it's possible to harmonize society rules with chronotypes? Do you see any chance in doing this?
So it's hard. You have to really work with it every single day. For me, what I teach people is if you stay in your kind of chronotypical sleep schedule as best you can within, let's say, an hour on either side, you should have a pretty good effect. But the closer you get to it, the better.
You said that sleep is like love. When you stop searching for it, it comes to you. I didn't yet learn this tip. So can you help me by giving me some more tips and tricks about sleep for a better sleep?
So sleep is a lot like love. The less you look for it, the more it shows up, right? And so the point here is, right, so like if you're out there looking for that partner, trying to fall in love, you never find them. But the second you stop, right, and you're just hanging out at the grocery store, having a cup of coffee, this unbelievable person walks into your life. And what it represents is that reduction in anxiety. Don't worry about if you're sleeping, if you're not sleeping. That's not going to be helpful to you. But I'm going to give everybody 5 tips right now that will help you with every single thing, and they won't cost you a dime. Okay. So tip number 1 is wake up at the same time every day, including the weekends, guys. So same time on Saturday, same time on Sunday, keeps our circadian rhythm in check and in line. And that's really where we want to be. So step number 1 wake up time. Step number 2 has to do with caffeine. Okay. Many people don't know, but caffeine has a half-life of 6 to 8 hours. So if you drink a cup of coffee at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, at 10 o'clock at night, 50% of that is still in your system. So that could be having an effect. So step number 2 is to stop caffeine by 2 p.m. Notice I didn't say you couldn't have it. Step number 3 is alcohol. There's a really big difference between going to sleep and passing out, okay? We don't like the passing out, right? So step number 3 is you can drink alcohol, but stop drinking alcohol 3 hours before bed. This allows your system to get it out. You also need to drink 3 glasses of water after drinking your 3 alcoholic beverages. Step number 4, exercise. We love it when people exercise because it improves sleep quality, but you can't do it too close to bedtime because your body's too hot and it won't be able to sleep. So exercise daily, but no exercise 4 hours before bed. Step number 5, very simple. When you wake up in the morning, take 5 deep breaths to center yourself. Then you should have water by your bedside. Drink 15 ounces of water right away, and then go outside or go by a window and get 15 minutes of sunlight. This helps turn off the melatonin in your brain and helps you wake up faster.
What else we cannot do before sleep?
Other things not to do before going to bed, your phone, right? You don't want to be playing with your phone right before bed because the blue light is going to hit your eyes and turn off your melatonin faucet in your head. You want that on. So we've got these things here. I brought some. Check these out. You can use these. Blue light blocking glasses. So these are amber colored lenses that you can still use while a computer or on your telephone in the evenings, things like that. But if you can, no phones would be the best.
So no phones. What else?
Try to lower television time. Try to lower light exposure. So you want to use a dimmer switch to lower the lighting. Other things that you're going to want to do is having discussions with people. So if you're going to be talking with somebody before you go to sleep, make it a boring topic or a fun or a happy topic. Don't have a big discussion right before bed because you will not be able to follow. You'll be too emotional. So you don't want to do that before bed. So do something boring. Do something relaxing before bed. It helps kind of transition you there.
What about temperature?
Temperature is huge. One of my big things is you want it to be cold in the room if it's at all possible. Now, there are some people who like to put lots of covers on and then their bed partner, it gets too hot. So I have a secret here. So if you have 2 people in the bed and one person likes it hot and one person likes it cold, the hot person should wear socks and keep their feet under the covers. The person who wants it cooler, no socks, feet out from under the covers, you'll be happier than you've ever been.
So I think that this tip might save a lot of marriages.
Yes, I have saved more marriages as a sleep doctor than I think I ever would have as a marital therapist.
Almost every second person I'm talking to nowadays is complaining about sleep, mentioning they have insomnia. What is basically insomnia, and when can we say that we have insomnia, and why do you think it is on rise, especially now during these pandemic times?
Sure. So the way we define insomnia is it either takes you longer than 30 minutes to fall asleep, or after you fall asleep, you wake up after 30 minutes. This happens more than 3 times in a week. It happens for longer than 3 weeks in a month, and it happens for longer than 3 months. That is insomnia. We call it the rule of 3s. Now, the question is, why is insomnia on the rise? That's an easy one to answer. The pandemic. Unfortunately, it's been so stressful for people that they don't have time to adjust. So as an example, in the morning times, you would drive to work and you would have that time by yourself, maybe listening to the radio or something to give yourself that separation from your home to your work. With quarantine, that stopped. And so people are working in their home, no more space for themselves. And so the whole day just becomes very difficult. That's number one. Number two, people aren't moving. Exercise is down. Being outside is down. And so with lack of movement, sleep is recovery. If you don't do anything to recover from, it's hard for your body to want to sleep extended periods of time. So staying active is going to be important. So because the pandemic has caused the quarantine, that has shifted our sleep schedules, our exercise schedules, and people have increased in caffeine consumption and increased in alcohol consumption. So all of those have contributed to insomnia, unfortunately.
Yeah, thank you. So do you think that the lack of sleep is affecting our body, so it can generate diseases, inflammation in our bodies?
I do. When we look at things like insomnia, we know that there's a very close relationship with anxiety and with depression as a mental health situation. As a physical health situation, we know that insomnia is associated with cardiac disease. We know that it's associated with hyperlipidemia, so high levels of cholesterol. Whole host of things that you don't want to have are not good for you if you got insomnia.
Okay, I know that you're not so much into pills, but for me, I have insomnia. So what would you recommend me?
So when people tell me that from time to time they have insomnia, here's the number one mistake that people make is if you didn't get a good night's sleep, let's say you woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, okay? And that wasn't what you wanted to do. You started your day. Here's the mistake is people say, well, I didn't sleep well last night. I'm going to get in bed early and see if I can catch up on my sleep. This is the worst idea you could possibly have. Remember, when we were beginning our conversation, we talked about sleep drive and sleep rhythm. When you go to bed early, you're not going to bed at your correct rhythm. And all you're going to do is lie in bed and get angry. And when you get angry, it's going to make it harder to sleep. And then it's going to perpetuate the cycle. So the number one thing that an insomniac should not do is go to bed early. They should go to bed at their normal bedtime. That's number one. Number two, no naps during the day. If you had a bad night's sleep, do not nap if you possibly can help it. We want to build up that sleep deprivation so that when you do fall asleep, it pushes you throughout the night, right? And so then the thing you do the next day, wake up at the same time every single day. Don't sleep in, even if it's Saturday morning, don't do it, right? Keep yourself on that schedule, no napping. And then the third thing, avoid caffeine if you possibly can. Because remember, caffeine is just going to make your whole situation worse. And it's only going to give you a very temporary time where you'll feel some energy.
So sleep needs a bit of discipline. You go to bed to the same time. You go. So discipline. Sleep is discipline like any other thing in life. Okay, thank you very much for this interview. I am honored that I was able to have this conversation with you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm so excited to have been able to educate folks at the Society of Healthy People. I'm thrilled to have been here. Thank you all so much. If you want to learn more about sleep, feel free to come over to my website, which is www.thesleepdoctor.com. And if you want to know what your chronotype is, go to chronoquiz.com.
Vă mulțumim că ne-ați urmărit, sperăm că v-a fost de folos ceea ce ați auzit și vă invităm în comunitatea noastră, Societatea Omului Sănătos.